On December 4th, 1872, a British ship called the Dei Gratia was sailing across the Atlantic Ocean when its crew spotted something strange on the horizon. A vessel was drifting, slowly, silently, moving the wrong way. The captain, David Morehouse, sent a small team over to investigate. What they found would become one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the history of the sea. The ship was the Mary Celeste, a two-masted brigantine, about 100 feet long, built strong and capable of crossing oceans. She had set out from New York Harbor on November 7, 1872, carrying 1701 barrels of industrial alcohol and a crew of 7 sailors. Also on board were the captain, Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter Sophia. 10 people total. A family voyage across the Atlantic to Genoa, Italy. When the Dei Gratia crew climbed aboard the Mary Celeste, the first thing they noticed was the silence. No one was there. The ship was completely empty. But here is what made it so strange. The Mary Celeste was not in distress. She was not sinking. She was not on fire. The cargo was mostly still in the hold. The crew's personal belongings were still in their cabins. Clothing, boots, razors, a sewing machine. Even the ship's cat, some accounts suggest, may have still been on board. The food supplies were untouched. The water supply was fine. There was no sign of violence. No blood. No struggle. No bodies. Nothing. The ship's last log entry was dated November 25, 1872, placing the Mary Celeste about 100 miles southwest of the Azores Islands, a small island chain in the middle of the Atlantic. When the Dei Gratia found her, she had drifted roughly 400 miles from that final recorded position. Nearly 10 days had passed, and in all that time, every single person on board had vanished without leaving a single clear explanation behind. The salvage crew from the Dei Gratia sailed the Mary Celeste to Gibraltar, where a formal maritime inquiry was held. The chief investigator, Frederick Solly Flood, was suspicious from the start. He believed something criminal had happened. He looked for signs of foul play, of mutiny, of piracy. He even had scientists examine the ship for traces of blood. The results came back showing no blood. No crime could be proven. The inquiry ended without a verdict. The 10 people of the Mary Celeste were simply gone, and no law, no science, and no court could explain it. The story exploded into public imagination in 1884, when a young writer named Arthur Conan Doyle, who would later create Sherlock Holmes, published a short fiction story inspired by the case. His version changed several facts and added dramatic, invented details, which unfortunately blurred the real story for years. But the true facts were already strange enough on their own. So, what actually happened? Over the following 150 years, researchers, historians, and maritime experts have proposed many theories. Here are the ones that hold up best under real scrutiny. The most widely accepted theory today involves the cargo. The Mary Celeste was carrying industrial alcohol, not drinking alcohol, in 1701 barrels. When investigators later checked the barrels, they found that 9 of them were empty. Industrial alcohol can release invisible, odorless vapor that does not ignite easily, but can cause a sudden, dramatic pressure blast if it builds up in an enclosed space. Researchers, including a 2006 investigation by documentarian MacGregor and her team, tested this theory by recreating the conditions. They found that the type of alcohol the Mary Celeste carried, called red oak barrel alcohol, could have produced a vapor explosion that was loud and frightening, produced a flash of flame, but left no scorch marks and no lasting fire. Captain Briggs, who was known to be cautious and careful, may have ordered everyone into the ship's lifeboat as a precaution, intending to wait at a safe distance until the danger passed. There is evidence supporting this. The ship's main hatch cover was found off its hinges. The sounding rod, a tool used to check water levels in the hull, was found lying out on the deck, suggesting someone had hastily checked for flooding right before leaving. The ship's one lifeboat was missing. A rope was found trailing off the stern of the ship, which may have been a line the lifeboat used to stay tethered to the Mary Celeste while the crew waited at a safe distance. If that line broke, or if a sudden storm hit, the lifeboat could have been swept away from the ship, leaving the people aboard it helpless in open ocean with no way to get back. Weather records from the area show that a severe storm passed through the region around that time. The North Atlantic in late November is one of the most dangerous stretches of water on Earth. A small lifeboat with 10 people, including a young child, tethered to a drifting ship by a single rope, caught in a sudden storm. It is a terrible picture, but it is a believable one. Other theories have been proposed over the years, including waterspouts, seaquakes, and even a navigation error leading the crew to believe the ship was sinking when it was not. None of these can be fully ruled out, but the alcohol vapor explosion theory remains the most supported by physical evidence and maritime expertise. The true fate of Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, little Sophia, and their 7 crewmates was never confirmed. No lifeboat was ever recovered. No bodies were ever found. The Mary Celeste herself continued sailing under different owners for another 12 years before she was finally wrecked off the coast of Haiti in 1885. The sea kept its secret. It still keeps it today. And the Mary Celeste remains the most famous ghost ship in history, not because the story was invented, but because it was absolutely real.